house, then something would remind me, oh, my late wife would have liked it this way.
And inspiring.
You lose a wife. That's a companion whom you hope you're going to be with forever.
Men will not know how to cope, but I think women can cope with the passing of the husband. They're stronger.
No matter what they do, a number one or a number two brings me closer and closer to you.
New Ace Toilet Cleaner comes in 6 variants and fragrances that kill 99% of germs, leaving your toilet beautifully clean and fresh.
My love is true. I'll always stand by you, 'cause you make me feel
rashes again? Kiss Kids diapers. Kiss Kids, no rashes. Kiss Kids, no rashes. Bye-bye rashes. Buy diapers. Choose Kiss Kids.
Tukawa tumefunga shule nikadam kumwambia mimi sijisi vizuri ni kama kuna ujauzito.
Alikuja akanikamata akaniendesha kwa nyumba ya miradi.
Akashika mtoto akamharibu akampasua hawezi hata kuenda.
There has been a significant spike in sexual offenses.
Children are getting pregnant under your own roof.
In some cases, the perpetrators, unfortunately, of such offenses are close relatives.
I am going to lobby the cabinet to block information related to pornography.
If the person who is vulnerable to abuse is not taught how to control or even how to see it so that they can speak out, you can ban anything, but someone would still be able to abuse that child.
Oya cheki, kuna vile sasa muziki manze, kuna vile inajipa manze, yani na cheki haimaanishi tu tunajibamba, yani very regular.
Kitu ya muhimu kwanza ni kujua hali yako ya status ya HIV.
Kwa hapa hivi tuwapeleke na Rieng, tujue venye manze tutasaidiana sika vijana. Na kama unaogopa kwenda pale hivi kwa clinic, unaweza pitia pale hivi kwa chemist ya mtaa, uitishe a self test kit na wanauza 500 bob only. Unajitestia tu mtaani, unajua hali yako.
Manze na ukiweza patikana nayo, yani uko positive manze, usiogope. Kuna madawa yani jo, kuna counseling manze. Unaweza kula fit yani, alafu unaweza piga bado ma exercises kiasi hivi. Na kama nyewe manze ukiweza patikana yani hauna manze, usiasi tu unaenda kutafuta tena.
Cheki. Ukiweza abstain.
Lakini maji yakizidi unga,
wrap it before you tap it.
La bila gloves haiwezi. Rieng ni kujua.
Unapoendelea kujikinga kutokana na HIV, tafadhali zingatia taratibu zote za serikali za kujikinga na virusi vya corona.
Afya bora, maisha bora. Jipime, jiinue.
I'm here for small biasharas in my hood or beyond. I'm here for my customers who are sought every time they come through. Put your business on the map with Visa. Where you shop matters.
Nimeosha mikono osha yako. Ikiwezekana fanyia kazi kwako. Hata Mungu muabudie kwako. Yuko kila pahali, hata kusikia.
Ombea wale imeshafika kwao. Kwa huruma zake Mungu ashinde kifo. Nawe jizuie. Ni kwa muda tu tutashinda. Tuko pamoja.
Kenya School of Revenue Administration, KESRA, is the leading capacity builder of choice in tax, customs and fiscal policy in Africa. It is one of the only 4 World Customs Organization WCO accredited regional training centers in East and Southern Africa. KESRA is also the regional training institution for African Tax Administration Forum (ATAF) and the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development (OECD). Charter career or business path in tax consultancy, audit, customs, clearing and forwarding, shipping and financial advisory. Now is your time. Apply now for certificate courses in Tax Administration, Customs, Administration and East Africa Customs Freight Forwarding Practicing Certificate EACFFPC. Diploma programs in Tax Administration, Customs Administration. Higher National Diploma in Tax Administration, Customs Administration. Postgraduate diploma programs in Tax Administration, Customs Administration, Master's program in Tax and Customs Administration with specialization in Tax or Customs. The Kenya School of Revenue Administration. Transcending to excellence.
This is NTV.
Welcome to NTV Tonight. Let's talk about sexual offences. As night falls, many, young and old, are cringing at the thought of being left alone. Their troubled minds enslaved by monstrous acts of those who seek cruel sexual gratification, be it from a child or a non-consenting adult. Well, in the bloody wake of their brutal doings, our lives scarred and minds left in constant sorrow for eternity. Tonight, Team Coverage Wednesday begins a 2-week campaign against sexual abuse. We share some deeply disturbing experiences of harrowing sexual offences meted out against those with no wrong nor desire. We'd like to warn you that many a victim's accounts may leave you in utter disgust, with sadness, and maybe even seething with rage. Viewer discretion is advised. But it is about time we had this conversation and called the nation's collective conscience to action. First, the top stories this 24th day of June 2020.
Tonight,
I wish to call the meeting to order.
Here's Governor Anne Waiguru's verdict on her impeachment hearing.
This impeachment motion has consumed a lot of valuable time that could have been used to work for the Kirinyaga people.
But Malala is awake to the pressure.
We are going to retreat and make a fair ruling.
Also tonight,
254 people tested positive for the virus.
The coronavirus picture is still bleak, but residents of Nairobi and Mombasa have even more cause to worry. Plus,
Doctor, thank you, doctor.
The biggest test for the Ministry of Education as schools reopen in September.
The class should have between 15 and 20 children. You know, and I know, and everybody knows in this country, that is going to be a challenge.
And also tonight, rubbing the wounds of sexual abuse. And pricking a nation's conscience.
Most of them were rejected by their parents, so they got pregnant looking for love.
It's Team Coverage Wednesday, so let's talk about sexual abuse.
NTV Tonight with Smriti Vidyarthi.
Welcome to NTV Tonight. Our sign language interpreter is Flora Atieno. Here now are the team coverage reporters. Live from Nakuru is Bridget Ngana, and in Kisumu is Oko Okusa. Kevin Mutai joins us live from the coastal city of Mombasa. Melita Oletenges is in Nyeri, and Ngina Kirori is with me here in studio. Do stay with us for team coverage coming up shortly. First though, the COVID-19 statistics. Now, the global coronavirus infections are at over 9.4 million. 481,622 people have died from it. In Africa, there are 328,995 people with infections, while 8,683 have died. And in the United States, there are over 2.4 million cases with over 123,000 deaths. We will bring you Kenya's numbers shortly during this broadcast. To our top story. The chairman of the Senate committee hearing Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru's impeachment, that's Cleopa Malala, says the committee will ensure a fair process as it wound up its hearings. Earlier today, a witness told the committee how the county boss has been awarding tenders to her closest allies. And as NTV's Silas Apollo reports, Waiguru, in her closing submissions, pleaded her innocence, saying the impeachment was because of her support for the BBI. Here is Silas Apollo.
Did you award as a joint venture?
Taking the stand before the Senate committee hearing the impeachment of Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru, Joseph Otieno, a director of supply chain management, revealed the dirty tricks used by the county in awarding tenders to the governor's friends and proxies. Top of the list is Pauline Kamau, said to be behind some of the most questionable tenders. Kamau worked with Waiguru at the Ministry of Devolution. He is said to be the current chairperson of the Tender Evaluation Committee.
Pauline Kamau chaired tenders and evaluation committees that dealt with waterworks for South Ngariama. Pauline Kamau chaired the one of Kagio Matatu parking works. Pauline Kamau chaired the one of assorted UPVC pipes of Kerera Water Project, that is Hamfill, and many others.
Others were Sela Bogonko, also a former employee of the Ministry of Devolution and the current Chief of Staff in Kirinyaga, as well as Wayne Gishira, an ICT advisor. Waiguru is also said to have awarded tenders to Velocity Limited, a company that did not meet the requirements for the award of a tender.
At that particular time of giving your professional opinion, were you in possession of the documents relating to Velocity, or you just give a professional opinion? Did you peruse the file relating to that document, that company?
I can confirm I did.
Did you confirm that the company was registered in 2017 and bidded in 2018?
Yes.
And then you went on to give a professional opinion in that respect and confirming that the company has experience of 5 years and 3 years audited accounts?
As a joint venture, yes.
Give us the joint venture agreement.
But the governor denied the allegations, linking her impeachment to her support of the BBI process. In her closing submissions, Waiguru also accused the leadership of the county assembly, led by Majority Leader James Murango, of blackmail after she stopped extending favors to the House, like foreign trips to Italy and New York.
My stand has made me enemies with people of deep influence and deep pockets, inside and outside my county, which is a matter of public record, resulting in endless attacks on my person because of my support for the BBI and the handshake.
We are going to retreat and make a fair ruling based on the evidence.
The 11-member committee now retreats to write its report, which will be considered on the floor of the Senate on Friday, 2:30 p.m. Silas Apollo, NTV.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Education says each classroom will have 15 to 20 learners when schools reopen in September. Teachers will also report to schools 2 weeks before the reopening as part of measures to protect the children as the country contends with the coronavirus. Here's Leila Mohammed with more details.
If all goes according to plan, the quiet and emptiness at the Kongoni Primary School in Nairobi's South Sea and in many schools around the country will be broken by the buzz of children running around the compounds and school halls as physical classes resume. But the biggest test for the ministry will be to enforce physical distancing, especially among children who have been apart for months now.
The class should have between 15 and 20 children. And therefore, you know and I know and everybody knows in this country that is going to be a challenge.
With a total of just under 800 pupils, Kongonia Public School is among thousands across the country that will be faced with the challenge of planning their timetables to ensure that each pupil gets their time in class. The school's head teacher says a shift system will be key, but they will also have to convert other spaces like the school hall and the library into classrooms.
In a classroom like this one of 44 students, teachers here gather the students in groups to enable them to ensure that each and every student is up to par with the lessons being taught at that particular time. But once the studies begin in the next few months physically, then this will have to change.
The government is developing a system where teachers must come maybe 2 weeks before so that they are trained on how to deal with COVID-related cases.
Maintaining hand hygiene will also be crucial. The school has set up hand washing stations, but water is still in short supply in many more other schools.
To date, we have just about 5 schools out of about 2,000 that have been seen that don't have water storage facilities.
Since schools closed due to the coronavirus, some have ensured students stay up to speed with online classes. With the ministry looking at a September reopening date, there are plans to shield the children from the virus.
There are thermograms which are not expensive, which we hope the school will have several. And finally the mask. The mask is the one that must be worn.
Leila Mohammed, NTV.
All right, well, at this point, let's take a look at the latest local numbers. And after more than 100 days of soaring infections, a devastating loss of life and occasional tales of triumph, the picture is still bleak. 254 more people tested positive for the coronavirus from 4,859 samples, raising the total caseload to 5,206. And as the Ministry of Health rolls out home-based care to offer some relief to strained hospitals, Nairobi and Mombasa could cause the government the biggest migraine. NTV's Naoma Sampao reports.
Out of the 40 counties which have so far reported COVID-19 infections, Nairobi and Mombasa are still considered to be viral flashpoints. The two cities have recorded the highest number of infections. Nairobi leads with 2,428 infections, while Mombasa is second with 1,304.
Mombasa has an attack rate of about 107, whereas Nairobi has about an attack rate of 55.
High mobility within the two cities seems to have contributed to the spiking infections for the two counties that are the gateways to the region and that first recorded the highest number of imported cases.
One of the reasons why we are one of the high burden counties is because we had our import cases coming here, and that's the same situation in terms of Mombasa. The risk of you getting COVID-19 is higher in Mombasa compared to Nairobi counties.
And to ease the burden on stretched healthcare systems, the government is still fine-tuning the home-based care option with focus on counties with a high attack rate. Those manifesting symptoms and those with underlying conditions, however, do not qualify.
So if you're in Mombasa and Nairobi, then it is expected that you actually are more, on guard in terms of ensuring that you're adhering to the measures.
The Ministry of Health holds that even as they exercise extreme caution as they roll out home-based care, utmost discipline is required from Kenyans for the process to be effective.
The weight of the growing cases of teen pregnancies in the country also increases the load for the country's healthcare system, but the government claims the numbers have been exaggerated.
But the figure that came from Machakos on further interrogation is actually untrue, because we have gone to our database to mine the figures, and the figure for Machakos as at now is slightly just over 1,000.
The survey by the Kenya Health Information System showed that about 4,000 girls aged 19 years and below were reported pregnant in Machakos between January and May. The numbers in other counties were equally bad. Nayoma Sampao, NTV.
Right, and now we turn our attention to our team coverage discussion on the growing problem of sexual conflict and abuse. Once again, we warn you that you may find some accounts depressing, so viewer discretion is advised. First out is Bridget Ngana coming to us live from Nakuru with the cruelty of rape. Bridget.
Yes, Smriti, the monstrous acts of people who cannot take no for an answer are ruining the lives of many across the country. But one case in Baringo County tonight stands out due to its sheer brutality. In Kasiala village, Baringo South, we find Cherono, not her real name. Last December, Cherono was on her way home from casual labor, her 4-month-old baby in hand, when a male stranger accosted her.
Nilitoka tu nyumbani asubuhi saa 5. Nilienda mpaka irrigation huko kwa Harabana. Nikakuja saa 9 kwa sababu ni mbali. Tukakutana tu njia ilikuwa imelewa. Hiyo mtu. Akakuja tu akashika mimi mkono. Nikaanguka. Mtoto akateremka chini. Mama alikonga mtoto kichwa.
For at least more than half an hour, she was pinned down, her tormentor taking painful rounds of brutal gratification from her. She lay there helplessly, too weak to even feel the baby's pulse. It wasn't until a herder chasing his flock home spotted her, by which time her baby was long gone.
Watu walikuja kusaidia mimi tushike hiyo mtoto mpaka iishe. Sasa nikaanza kulala hapo. Hakuna nyumba hata. Sina barabara tu. Nikalala hapo mpaka asubuhi.
Back home and without medical or psychosocial support, Cherono's troubles would soon multiply. Her husband of years left her.
Mimi tunataka nisaidie kwa sababu hasa sina mwili yangu sasa imekuwa sekera. Hata kichwa sio mzuri kwa sababu ya COVID. Nikipata mawazo kidogo karibu kichwa yangu naruka.
A local women's rights group is pursuing legal recourse for Cherono, but she is not alone. There have been over 20 rape cases here this year alone, they say.
Indigenous women and all women in maybe rural areas are suffering a lot in silence. That lady lost her child in the process of being raped. We've been trying to reach out on various government bodies, including even NGOs, on how best she can be helped to maybe fight for her rights to be recognized.
Until proper institutions and more stringent laws are put in place, sex predators will stay on the prowl.
Depending on the individual facts of each case, upon application by the DPP, the courts will be available to give early hearing dates and hear those matters as quickly as possible.
Still, the stigma associated with sexual violence makes justice a mirage for many victims. Well, from the cruelty of rape, Okusa takes us to the incessant violation of minors. Okusa.
Bridget, what could be more cruel than a child repeatedly molested by someone so very well known to them? Such is the story of so many minors, actually helpless minors, across the country.
I will hide her identity and call her Lillian. At 6 years old, her purity was soiled by a boda taxi operator well known to her and her family. She now lives at this rescue home.
But for the first time, he defiled her, and he was caught and taken to court. He was released on bond, and he went back for the second time. He wanted to defile the girl again, but he didn't manage because the girl shouted and he was caught and he ran away. So he's at large until now. They have not found him.
2 months later, the serial offender is yet to pay for his crimes. Here, we also find Janet, not her real name. Hers is a case of a protector turned tormentor. Crimes committed by her own maternal cousin. For 2 years, he robbed the 13-year-old total orphan of her innocence. Inside the same room, his 3 children and wife slept.
Alikuanga anambia bibi yake tumbi na mumu. Alafu usiku na bibi yake anambia bibi yake mtandike shiti chini. Alafu analala karibu na sisi.
Janet and little Lillian are currently living at a rescue center established by a local non-governmental organization sheltering such minors in distress.
We've seen a rise in the number of cases. In a week, we can receive about 5 to 10 cases of survivors of sexual gender-based violence. Majority of them are within the age range of, let me say, 7 to around 17. So there are cases of defilement, but we've also seen a rise in the cases of incest, where children are abused within the households.
Miles away in Murang'a County, an 11-year-old girl with special needs is in pain. She was defiled twice by members of the same family.
Nikapata huyo mbaba, akanishika, akanipeleka kwa nyumba, akanipea pombe, kalunda akaniambia nilale, akanifanya tambia baya na mbele na nyuma, akaniambia nikae kama mbuzi, wanavaa venye wanavanga za daktari, nikaenda home akaniambia nikisema ataniua.
A 2019 status report on children in the justice system in Kenya says that out of every 100 cases involving children taken to court, 60 were sexual offenses and defilement the most prevalent.
Well, there's still more coming up on team coverage tonight. But first, a spoken word piece by Dan Mwangi, just to prick our collective conscience.
She felt dirty, unworthy, guilty, suicidal, uncleanable even by the water that sanctifies. His burning lust was the fire at the altar of defilement, and she was a sacrifice. Her tears could fill buckets but still could not put off this fire. It was wild, fueled and driven by defiling desire. When you forced yourself on her, on him, a part of them was killed. Some actually died, and that void you created cannot just be filled. Our hearts are struck by the stark reality of how much victims feel stuck. And it sucks. It sucks to see the grim stats. It sucks that this thing hurts. It fills hearts with disgust. This thing starts in safe spaces sometimes. From little girls to old women, these perverts just see figures. Some are conceited because they can buy silence for more than 6 figures. Or threaten their victims. Some of the agents of these dark forces are bad bosses. Not only dark-skinned men can blackmail you, it's a blurred process. Are outcomes of some suits in court tied to monies paid to shut justice up? Is this a culture that mosques, synagogues, and church can't disrupt? Maybe because some of the culprits are ordered at the pulpit? Evil describes what they articulately demonstrate. We need to fight. We need to set this demons straight. So stop these predators from looking at our girls and boys with sodom eyes. Let's stop acting and start acting. If you're not with us, so long, guys. Let's get to the root and not get hung up on issues of dressing. Let's put sexual abuse in an envelope and address it.
Yo, Dan, you're the man. I'm such a big fan of what you just sang. You did it with a bang, but I'm just doing it with a twang. For real though, that hit the heart. And so did all those stories on team coverage, I beg your pardon, about defiling Kenya. More when we return. Don't go far.
You in the pollution? Yes, you. Dry throat? Strepsils. Gal in the smoke with a raspy voice? Strepsils. Hello, in the downpour with a scratchy throat? Take Strepsils. Get soothing relief for any throat irritation. Strepsils with its medicinal ingredients will heal the harm down to your throat from external factors. Strepsils. Strepsils for a dry, itchy, raspy, scratchy throat.
The risk of illness causing germs is increasing. It is believed that the coronavirus can remain on surfaces in your home for up to 9 days. Touching infected surfaces is one of the ways in which germs spread. Regularly disinfect your floors, countertops, and kitchen surfaces with bleach. And use an effective toilet cleaner inside and outside your toilet bowl. This message is brought to you by Medifacts, JIC, and Harpic.
Like every mother, I'm worried about dangerous insects, especially mosquitoes, which spread diseases like malaria to my loved ones. This year, I'm not afraid. I'm using Mortein Doom. Mortein Doom All Insect Killer provides protection in seconds. Not even a single mosquito is spared, because even one mosquito bite can cause malaria. Mortein Doom provides protection in seconds.
What comes to your mind when you think of the perfect home for your family? Is it the beauty, the comfort, the security, the convenience, or even the affordability? Victory Gardens offers exactly that and much more. It is just 10 minutes drive from Kitengela town and 3.8 kilometers off the tarmac. This gated community project comes with solar street lighting, Maram roads, beautiful trees, 24-hour security, and water connected to every plot. The best part is, families are already living here. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optiven.co.ke.
Optiven Limited, the pacesetters in real estate.
Do your gums hurt? Yeah. Does your toothpaste contain sage, eucalyptus, myrrh, chamomile? All that in one toothpaste? Yes, try Colgate Herbal. Colgate Herbal contains nature's best herbs and Colgate's fluoride technology to give you strong teeth and healthy gums. Ah, Colgate Herbal. Let's go. Colgate Herbal for strong teeth and healthy gums naturally.
My whole life is in my phone.
This is Fact Finder from the BBC.
We look at Russia's renewed relations with Africa and what's in it for the continent.
The wedding that never was. We look at how Nigerians fell for a fake alert on a clandestine wedding allegedly involving President Muhammadu Buhari.
We find out why you need to be cautious about what you publish online.
His Excellency Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya is pleased to notify property owners within Kakamega County of his decision to extend a 100% waiver. The waiver has been extended from 1st June to 31st August 2020.
Welcome back. You are watching NTV Tonight and team coverage continues. And once again, a warning to our viewers that some of these stories you're about to listen to may be disturbing. At this point, let's link up with NTV's Kevin Mutai, who joins us live from Mombasa. Now, Kevin, these statistics on child sex abuse are jarring, but that is how many of them end up with children.
Smriti, in fact, the problem of teen pregnancies has been made worse by the closure of schools, leaving kids with so much time on their hands. Just take a look.
In Marimani village of Kisauni, we find Mary, not her real name, tending to her 2-month-old baby at her grandmother's home. Mary was in class 7 when her relationship with a class 8 pupil in a neighboring school led to this late 2019, and there began her troubles.
Tulikuwa tuendelea pamoja, aliposikia kama mimi niko na mimba, akaanza kuruka. Rafiki zake akasema, hiyo mimba si yako. Basi mvulana mdogo mwenyewe uko na mimba.
A few kilometers away in Mwakirunge village, we find another child mother. Fatuma, not her real name, says she was married off as soon as she became pregnant. She had to drop out of school in standard 6.
Mamangu alikuwa yasema kwamba huyo mwenye alinipa ujauzito ndio nijerishi na yeye. Kabidi nijerishi naye.
In a region where poverty and illiteracy levels are extremely high, transactional sex is an easier option even for minors.
Ukienda maji uenda peke yake, akaenda kule enda kuweka, akaenda shona enda kuweka. Unajua kule kwenye msitu ameweka nini? Si hujui. Ukumbuka mwanangu, mbona umechelewa mtoto wangu? Akamwambia mama, mimi nilikuwa na dukani kama kuna watu wengi. Wewe utafanyaje?
Una hizi sanitary pads. Watu wakosa. Na pia mambo ya chakula pia. Hiyo ndio wasababisha wasichana wengi kupata mimba.
Mara nyingine watu tunahangaika, tuna pesa. Lakini tuwavumilia hivyo tuamlea mtoto wetu.
Locals are pointing an accusing finger at administrators for not playing their part in keeping a morally upright society.
Kwa chifu tulienda kufika kwa chifu akakataa kusimama, sasa kuondoka hivi, chifu akabaki yule msaidizi wake na akasema kwamba haiwezekani kesi kama hiyo ya mimba haiendi kwa chifu, huwa ni kwa headmaster tayari.
Wengi sasa wamejifungua, wengine wamejifungua mwezi uliopita, kwa hivyo wana watoto wachanga kabisa.
And it doesn't help much that children have a lot of free time.
Takriban miezi 3.5 watoto washazipata, kuna curfew, hatujui wanzipata vipi. Mwezi wa 4 ambao Profesa Magoa anasema watu watafanya mitihani ya KCPE na KCSE, kutakuwa na watoto wengi wakinyonyesha katika examination rooms. Itakuwa ishatimu miezi 9 kulingana na hesabu za haraka.
As we leave the village, we encounter yet another teenager who is in her last days of pregnancy. She says she was preyed on by her neighbor at his home where she had gone to fetch water. Months later, and the mention of justice is still a bad joke. Amid such excruciating tales, some children have found safe places where they call havens, and Melita Tenges from Nyeri County is telling us more about that.
Kevin, this is a story about humans in service of mankind, offering support to teenagers who have veered off the way.
Behind this security gate is a place of solace, a safe haven for teenage mothers who may have fallen off the way one way or another, or are victims of sexual abuse.
Bole ilikuwa msi nilikuwa najua, msi tulikuwa tunahang around, and kama umeamua kuruka ni sawa. Sasa
ningekuwa shule, lakini sirudi shule, naenda kofu.
At Serene Haven in Chaka, Nyeri County, they have a home. Here they benefit from material and psychological support in picking up the pieces.
I was a teenage mom, though not as young as they are. I had my first baby when I was 18 years old. When I grew old, I always kept thinking, what would have happened to me if I didn't have somebody to stand by me?
Wanjiru also endeavors to fill a huge void left in the hearts of these young girls aged between 15 and 17.
If you've listened to their stories, most of them have started, they were rejected by, when their parents died, they were rejected by the relatives, they were rejected by someone. So they got pregnant looking for love.
Many have veered off the way, but head held high. They are rising from the ashes of the past.
Sitaka dema pitia ile uchungu yenye nimepitia. Sisi taka kuona dem akitumia zile vitu zenye nimetumia kama drugs. Yeah, I want to be a counselor in life. Nataka kuwa change yani.
They also walk this journey for the sake of their young ones.
The whole point is to empower this teenage mother. Ndio huyu mtoto wake asirudi pale kwa shida, so that we break that cycle.
For these teen moms, a journey of many miles begins with a single step. Encouraged by the transformation so far, they journey onwards, if only for the sake of their young ones.
Well, maybe it's time to talk about sex education. Ngina Kirori, over to you.
Well, Melita, this is an age-old debate, complete with staunch opponents and proponents, and the argument about whether or not to include sex education in the school curriculum. Take a look.
In a culture where talking about sex is still an uncomfortable conversation, the debate on whether or not to incorporate sex education into the school curriculum remains a highly divisive one.
I do believe that sexuality education is very important to have in the curriculum.
When you expose a child and give them the burdensome and onerous task of making quote-unquote informed choices about sex and sexuality at age 8, what are you doing to that child?
Thousands of young boys and girls are being inducted into risky sexual behavior, exploring their biology, yet unaware of the perils that come with it.
Majority of teachers were not comfortable addressing the topic, or if they did address the topic tend to be very skewed in terms of saying things like sex is dangerous, it's immoral.
Who said no one's teaching this child? Has anybody taken the time to equip parents? The conversation we should be having is, how do we equip parents?
However, they both agree that charity begins at home, uncomfortable as it may be, for most parents at least.
It's not one stakeholder, it's a multitude of stakeholders, because for parents, like you said rightly, it's an uncomfortable topic. And parents, however, need to be able to have those open, honest, respectful, and non-judgmental discussions with their children.
The greatest danger still shall remain sex predators lurking about, strong enough to pin their prey down and oftentimes getting away with it.
If the person who is vulnerable to abuse is not taught how to control or even how to see it so that they can speak out, then you can ban anything, but someone would still be able to abuse that child.
As both sides of the debate agree to disagree, certain things remain constant. Among them is the paramount need to keep children aware of the dangers and risks, one way or another.
Well, to include or not, it is the million-dollar question. Back to you, Smriti.
All right, Ngina, thanks very much for that. Well, now it is time to have a look at some grim and also concerning statistics. Have a look at this. Now, coming up on your screen, this is the percentage of cases that relate to sexual offence. Is a much higher number compared to the 5% of cases that were being taken to court before the COVID-19 pandemic. All right, next up, 55 is the percentage of sexual violence that is meted out on women by partners or spouses. And next up to the number of those who have actually been victims of sexual violence. And that statistic is 1 in 7. And then 1 in 25 women have encountered sexual violence for the first time under the age of 15. Now, despite the physical, mental and emotional toll that sexual violence has on an individual and their loved ones, there is also a toll on the pocket. It is estimated that the annual direct financial cost of rape and defilement nationally is a whopping 200 million shillings. Now, this covers medical, legal costs, family, witnesses, follow-ups, and also paralegal services. Now, in Nairobi, 3 in 4 women feel that the risk of sexual assault or rape is high or extremely high in the city. And also, half of women in Nairobi believe that laws and policies to promote women's safety do not exist or are just slightly effective. And that has been Team Coverage Wednesday, the topic defiling Kenya. It is an issue that we are going to stick with, so do be sure to watch Team Coverage next Wednesday at 9 p.m. with the the team. At this point, we take another breather on NTV Tonight. There's more on the other side.
Disinfect and protect your home with Jik. Jik kills 99.9% of illness-causing germs. Disinfect floors, kitchen and bathroom surfaces, and wash white clothes, towels, and dishcloths with Jik bleach. Just Jik it.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari. The Micro and Small Enterprises Authority is a state corporation established under the Micro and Small Enterprise Act number 55 of 2012 to coordinate and facilitate the implementation of various public and private sector initiatives for the promotion, development and regulation of MSMEs in Kenya to become key industries. For more information on how to register or partner with us, visit our website on www.msea.go.ke. MSEA, Entrepreneurship Transforming Kenya.
For a better tomorrow, don't forget to do the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate every night.
Explorers of the night, wale wase wa kuhustle usiku, kustreama movies, music mix diehards and gaming fanatics. We've heard you. It is now your time to fly your flag high. Do what you love, mpaka che na Telkom. Join Usiku Sako with Telkom night bundles that allow you rule the night at prices you love. Join our tribe, Usiku Sako Squad. Just dial *544# from your Telkom line and select the night bundle of your dreams. You are the legend the night needs.
John suffers from indigestion. His twin James suffers from heartburn. Sometimes it's the other way around or both. That's why they use Gaviscon Double Action. It soothes within 3 minutes and lasts up to 4 hours. For double relief from heartburn and indigestion, Gaviscon Double Action. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Thanks for staying with us. It's time for the business news now, and the executive arm of the government is seeking the National Assembly's approval to spend an additional 14.37 billion shillings in the financial year 2019-2020, which is set to end in just 6 days. This is according to the Supplementary Budget 3 tabled on the floor of the House during today's session, which was dominated by debate on the Finance Bill of 2020. Julian's Amboko with the details.
The executive has returned to the floor of the August House, seeking the green light to bump up the planned expenditure for the financial year ending June 30th, 2020, which is just next week, by 14.37 billion shillings. This expenditure encompasses an 8.86 billion shillings increase in recurrent expenditure and 5.51 billion shillings increase in development expenditure. Accounting for the lion's share of the increase is the Ministry of Health, whose expenditure estimates have been revised upward by 6.7 billion shillings, gobbling up 46.62% of the total increase. Coming next after the Health Ministry is the State Department of Housing and Urban Development, whose increase is 2.38 billion shillings, and the Defence Ministry with an increase of 1.9 billion shillings. The 6.7 billion shillings increase in the budget of the Ministry of Health is attributable to the upward revision for the budget allocation to the Health Policy Planning and Financing Programme from the initial 30.66 billion shillings to 37.36 billion shillings. The allocation for the delivery of affordable and social housing units under the State Department for Housing is also set for a major boost in its purse, with the allocation being revised upward by 2.33 billion shillings to stand at 4.56 billion shillings. On the other extreme end, however, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions has taken a hit with its budget revised downward by 90 million shillings to stand at 3.28 billion shillings.
Section 43, subsection...
Focus now shifts to the National Assembly, which has only one sitting left to pass the proposed supplementary estimates before the current financial year draws to a close next week on Tuesday. The third supplementary budget for the financial year 2019-2020 brings to the fore the challenges the government is facing in adhering to its fiscal consolidation agenda, especially in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. Julian's Amboko, NTV.
You will not be charged for mobile money transactions of up to 1,000 shillings until December this year, after the Central Bank of Kenya extended the emergency measures announced in March to encourage the use of mobile money. Charges for moving money between mobile money wallets and bank accounts also remain waived, while the wallet and transactions limits that were announced will also remain in force. According to the Central Bank, the measures have occasioned significant increase in the use of mobile money, with more than 1.6 million additional customers now using mobile money channels. Business-related transactions have, however, declined marginally. The search for a substantive occupant of the position of Director General of the Communications Authority has run into headwinds again. Well, this follows the decision by the Employment and Labour Relations Court to suspend the vacancy notice for the position of Director General and Chief Executive Officer of the Market Regulator. In May 2020, the Board of the Communications Authority re-advertised the position of Director General, which has been held by Mercy Wanjau in interim capacity following the acrimonious exit of Francis Wangusi in August 2019. Lady Justice Maureen Onyango issued the temporary order following a case filed by the Information Communication Technology Association of Kenya. Shareholders of British American Tobacco have today endorsed a 3.4 billion shilling dividend payout for the full year ended December 2019, a 4.3% decline from the dividend payout the preceding year. The decision was reached during the company's 68th annual general meeting, which came on the back of a 5.1% decline in net earnings for the full year ended December 2019. The company's share price lost marginally during Wednesday's trading session to close at 310 shillings and 25 cents, down 1.5% compared to Tuesday's closing price.
Commitments to Kenyan agriculture, partnering with approximately 4,300 local farmers to supply tobacco for our existing cigarette business. This is on top of over 80,000 trade and business partners and over 1,800 people employed directly or indirectly in Kenya.
British alcoholic drinks firm Diageo has announced a $100 million global program to support bars and pubs to recover after the coronavirus pandemic that has silenced the nightlife industry. Through the two-year program, the company says it will target joints in major hospitality centres, including New York, London, Nairobi, Dar es Salaam and Kampala, in order to help them to welcome customers back and recover from the pandemic. Priority will be placed on hygiene measures such as sanitizer dispensers and also personal protection equipment, digital support to enable cashless systems and practical equipment to transform how their outlets will work. Now, individuals who failed to report cases of bribery to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission now risk a fine of 5 million shillings or a 10-year jail term if MPs approve a proposed law that seeks to tighten the noose on graft lords. Well, for this and more business news, get your copy of the Business Daily tomorrow. And next, it's a look at the financial markets.
NTV Financial Report in association with PesaLink.
Select PesaLink on your bank app or USSD. Step 2. Select either send to phone or send to account. Step 3. Input the phone number or account number to send money to and confirm the transaction. PesaLink. Easy, affordable, instant.
All right, we're taking another break, but check this out first. With spectacular tricks, top artists in the Swiss Alps have drawn attention to the dramatic situation in the event industry due to the coronavirus crisis. At the Glacier 3000 Air Show, acrobats performed a variety of shows at the cliff. The acrobatic artist Raymond Katharina performed during the show on a, quote, death wheel with the Swiss Alps in the background. The cable car facilities, which were still closed on weekdays for tourists, became an art stage. Check that out. Pretty amazing. We'll be back after this break.
The future of our nation relies on your dreams and our steel. Tononoka Group, at the core of every construction.
I'm here for small biasharas, in my hood or beyond. I'm here for my customers, who are sought every time they come through. Put your business on the map with Visa. Where you shop matters.
Welcome back. Former Agriculture Cabinet Secretary and Deputy President William Ruto's close ally Mwangi Kiunjuri today officially launched his new political outfit as the race for the 2022 general election intensifies. Kiunjuri says the new party will offer alternative leadership and will be an answer to the country's problems. Zainab Ismail reports.
For any action, there will be reaction. When time comes, when I'm provoked, when I feel it is important to talk, I will do it.
And the time seems to have finally arrived for the former Agriculture Cabinet Secretary 6 months after losing his job. His move?
The entry of the Service Party of Kenya, TSP, into Kenya's politics.
A party he says will cure the issues bedeviling the country and serve the Mwananchi. Its symbol, a heart inside a circle nested in the background of the vibrant yellow and blue colors. But the politics is already in motion. Kiunjuri, who had fallen in the bad books of his former boss, President Uhuru Kenyatta, pulled no punches in his thinly veiled attack of the president.
I never betray my friends. If you are my friend, you remain my friend. But the only thing I want to assure my friends is that I will never choose to you whom will be a friend. Likewise, don't choose who will be my friend.
This comes as the race for the House on the Hill gathers momentum, with attention focused on the Mount Kenya voting bloc.
One thing I want to assure you is that I'm not going to run as a governor for Laikipia.
Kiunjuri said the party will open offices countrywide ahead of an intended launch later this year to pave way for grassroots elections. Zainab Ismail, NTV.
Now, after days of speculation over the whereabouts of ODM leader Raila Odinga, his brother and spokesperson of the Odinga family yesterday opened up to the nation. In your Daily Nation tomorrow, find out why Raila is seeking medical attention in the United Arab Emirates and why social media enthusiasts were off the mark. Plus, shame of killers in uniform. We put a spotlight on police killings which have claimed the lives of 101 people in the first 5 months of the year. Don't miss your copy. All right, the sports news is next on NTV tonight, but not before we show you what happened in Lopburi, a city in Thailand. Well, it's become overrun with monkeys. And how did this happen? Well, during the COVID pandemic, they got access to junk food, got high on energy, and in turn used that energy to reproduce. Well, now the population is growing out of control and residents and shop owners want their space back. About 6,000 monkeys live near the temple, with authorities now trying to take back control by sterilizing 500 of the monkeys. All right, after that monkey business, I'll be back with the sports news.
The county government of Nyeri, with the approval of His Excellency Governor Mutahi Kahiga, has granted a 100% waiver of accrued interest sums on outstanding land rates, which has been extended to 30th June 2020. With a cashless system, obtain your invoice from respective sub-county offices and make payments through accounts held at Cooperative Bank or Kenya Commercial Bank, Nyeri branch, using account numbers on your screen, or M-Pesa Paybill 191900 and get your official receipt.
What comes to your mind when you think of the perfect home for your family? Is it the beauty, the comfort, the security, the convenience, or even the affordability? Victory Gardens offers exactly that and much more. It is just 10 minutes drive from Kitengela town and 3.8 kilometers off the tarmac. This gated community project comes with solar street lighting, Maram roads, beautiful trees, 24-hour security, and water connected to every plot. The best part is, families are already living here. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optiven.co.ke.
Optiven Limited, the pacesetters in real estate.
How to burp a baby. Lay your baby face down on your lap. Support your baby's head, making sure it's higher than his or her chest. Gently pat or rub the baby's back, leaving the baby comfortable and without any trapped gas.
Kiss Kids diapers. Kiss Kids, no rashes. Kiss Kids, no rashes. Bye-bye rashes. Bye diapers. Choose Kiss Kids.
This is Fact Finder from the BBC.
We look at Russia's renewed relations with Africa and what's in it for the continent.
The wedding that never was. We look at how Nigerians fell for a fake alert on a clandestine wedding allegedly involving President Muhammadu Buhari.
We find out why you need to be cautious about what you publish online.
His Excellency Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya is pleased to notify property owners within Kakamega County of his decision to extend a 100% waiver. The waiver has been extended from 1st June to 31st August 2020.
Sports news now. Kisumu's Mamboleo Showground will now be known as the Jomo Kenyatta International Stadium. Sports Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohammed unveiled the new name as she broke ground, which will pave way for the construction of a multi-million shilling sports facility. According to the ministry, the stadium, which costs 350 million shillings, will cater for various sports disciplines, among them football, rugby and hockey. The CS says the stadium will be constructed in 6 months' time.
And so I'd just like to also appreciate His Excellency the President for having given this directive to ensure that this work begins immediately. We have been told we must finish within 6 months.
Tuboreshe facilities huko, tuwe na volleyball pitch, hockey pitch, football field proper. Na hiyo miradi inaendelea sahihi. Tukipata usaidizi kutoka World Bank katika mradi ya Kenya Urban Support Program.
Former world marathon record holder Patrick Macau led retired athletes drawn from Machakos, Makueni and Kitui counties in distributing relief food to vulnerable athletes. Some 50 athletes from the southern region received food rations in the exercise led by the two-time Berlin Marathon champion and the Athletics Kenya Vice President Paul Mutwi. The exercise took place at the Machakos Public Works ground near Machakos town. The donation exercise only targeted junior athletes currently in various camps preparing for this year's World Under-20 Championships, which were postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Kuna mipango nyingi ambayo tumeweza kufanya, tukijua sasa hivi tuko na kambi huko Kitui na Mwingi ambaye ni mipango ya kukuza vipaji, na tuko na kambi ambayo iko Makueni ikiongozwa na Bwana Ilovi. Hiyo kambi inaendelea vizuri, na sasa hivi vile tunasema tuko na wakimbiaji wengi sana.
Now, young marathon fans had a day to remember today as they received food donations. 7-year-old Whitney Jeb-Korir found herself under the starlight of athletes who were donating food in Lower Pioneer Estate in Eldoret, Uasin Gishu County. The young one caught the eye of world marathon record holder Eliud Kipchoge, who gave her a package of goodies and assigned his aides to drive her home. Whitney's aunt said that the family was going through a tough time since the family of 5 solely depended on Whitney's mother, who is a security guard.
We have met her day today, and I think the 3 siblings and mother will be happy for the next 2 weeks.
Tunapitia mchuchu sana. Tunapitia hali ngumu. Na hizi vizuri sasa vile nimeona kakitu hivi.
And further afield, hosts Tottenham beat West Ham 2-0 for their first victory in 8 games to boost their hopes of European football next season. Midfielder Thomas Susek converted into his own net in the 64th minute. Harry Kane scored his first goal since returning from injury 8 minutes to stoppage time for his 18th goal of the season. With 7 games remaining, the loss leaves the Hammers outside the relegation zone, but only on goal difference with Bournemouth, Aston Villa and Norwich. Meanwhile, Leicester City played a goalless draw against Brighton at the King Power Stadium, and tonight leaders Liverpool will take on Crystal Palace at Anfield.
At last he ripples a 2020 net. It's been a painful wait. It's a wait that is...
Mope steps up. Oh, and Schmeichel has saved it. Mope, the weekend match winner, denied here today.
This was a really good save from Kasper Schmeichel. Guessed to his right-hand side, almost telegraphed it. Mope didn't have the speed on the ball, didn't hit it into the corner. It was a really good save.
From the EPL to the Serie A, and Napoli registered a 2-0 win victory over Verona in the Italian Serie A. Milik put Napoli ahead in the 38th minute before having Lozano scored the second goal in the 90th minute. Meanwhile, Parma thrashed Genoa 4-1 and Andreas Cornelius scored a hat-trick for Parma as Dejan Kulusevski rounded off the win. Iago Falque converted a penalty for Genoa's consolation. Torino won 1-0 against Udinese as Spal went down 1-0 against Cagliari. Tonight, Inter Milan is playing Sassuolo at San Siro. Atalanta will entertain Lazio at the stadium as Roma welcome the Sampdoria.
A beautiful cross and another beautiful goal. That combination, Falque, the second half substitute who steps up. Falque makes no mistake. Genoa 1, Parma 3.
That is a Sampdoria, I should say. Now, La Liga champions Barcelona fought hard to beat Athletic Bilbao 1-0 at Camp Nou to reclaim the top spot. Substitute Ivan Rakitic came off the bench and broke 71 minutes of Bilbao's resistance with his first goal of the season. The win means Barcelona topped the league with 68 points, 3 ahead of their rivals Real Madrid, who lie second. Real Madrid play Real Mallorca tonight. And in other results, Bruno Gonzalez's own goal in the 15th minute gave Atletico Madrid a 1-0 win over Levante as Real Valladolid drew 1-1 with Getafe.
Llorente to tee up that goal that I don't think the defender could do anything about. And once again showing the varied skill set that he had, a player who came to Atletico as a hard-working defensive midfielder. He can play, and that was delicious turn.
And to tennis, world number 1 Novak Djokovic has said that he is, quote, so sorry after becoming the latest tennis player to test positive for COVID-19. Already, Grigor Dimitrov, Borna Coric and Viktor Troicki all revealed they had coronavirus after playing at Djokovic's Adria Tour competition. 33-year-old Djokovic played fellow Serb Troicki in the first event in Belgrade, and in his post he said that it had been, quote, too soon to stage the tournament and is deeply sorry that the tournament has caused harm. The remaining Adria Tour events in Banja Luka and Sarajevo have now been cancelled, according to Djokovic's team. All right, well, the sports news brings NTV Tonight to a close. Thanks so much for your company. As always, it's just gone past 10 o'clock. We'll be back again tomorrow at 9 p.m. Be sure to see us then. Our sign language interpreter tonight has been Flora Atieno. I'm Smriti Vidyarthi. Bye-bye and keep safe.